Hey there, I'm Leah, and I'm working with the folks here at Hollywood to Home today to reveal the backstage stories and hard-made lessons of artists making TV shows, music videos, commercials, and of course movies that we all love. This next episode features a living legend in costume design, including an exclusive never-before-seen interview clip from the peak of her career.
Let's go!
Who might she be? If you guessed Deborah Landis, you're correct. Deborah Landis had an enormous influence on film, fashion, and popular culture. Take the Indiana Jones signature fedora and bomber jacket that Miss Landis designed for Raiders of the Lost Ark. The movie premiered over 40 years ago.
Trust me.
And that hat, jacket, and khaki ensemble is still emblematic of rugged masculinity. Brands like Ralph Lauren and Burberry continue to reference this look to inform their collections. It's also no surprise that J. Crew was launched as a brand 2 years after the Raiders' worldwide success. Ditto for Banana Republic. Oh, and a quick bonus. The jackets themselves were actually made by Berman and Nathans in London, an iconic costume shop that is still in business with over 1 million garments stored on 8.5 miles of racks. Crazy, right? If you think Deborah was one and done, think again. She went on to design the costumes for Michael Jackson's Thriller music video. And yes, for those of you who weren't around in the 80s, the video inspired regular folks to buy that same red and black jacket, and they wore it like daily. Fortunately, some of Deborah's other costumes, brilliant as they are, did not become a part of fashionistas' everyday wear. Coming to America was singled out instead for an Oscar nomination, and her work on the Stallone comedy, Oscar, also received wide praise. With so many talented costume designers over the years, what was it that made Deborah Landis trusted by legendary directors like Steven Spielberg, George Lucas, the Zucker brothers, and of course her husband, John Landis? For the first time ever, we hear from Deborah herself shortly after her work on Michael Jackson's iconic black or white music video.
Costume designers come from all different kinds of backgrounds. I have a very conventional background. I took Goddard College. I was involved with the Bread and Puppet Theater. And I got a master's degree in costume design. So I went from my master's degree program right into the NBC wardrobe shop. And I had a 2-year apprenticeship. And during that apprenticeship, I left. And I left to do low-budget movies. And I left to do Kentucky Fried Movies. And then I left to do Animal House. But while I was there, I really put clothes away. And I learned the nitty-gritty of the business. You need extraordinary budgeting skills because with very little effort, you can throw a lot of money away on things like buttons and trims. You really have to know, and that's experience, what's going to be on screen. The many, many movies that are huge budget movies, like Coming to America was a huge budget movie with a huge lead time and just extraordinary hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of costumes. We made 1,000 ball gowns. But I flatter myself by thinking that I can do a lot with a little bit of budget, that I can do anything with a sheet and a bath towel. You could really see that in Animal House, because Animal House was really done with, Otter was wearing an Italian tablecloth as a part of his toga costume. And Animal House was, the whole toga party was built on my love of making things out of found objects. Three Amigos. As part of the Mexican fiesta. They use Christmas ornaments on everybody. Critical thing in my department is organization. In the Three Amigos, I had Marty Short and Steve Martin and Chevy Chase. And they only wore these very silly mariachi costumes throughout the movie. We had 10 mariachi costumes for each of those actors. Not because they wore them, because they wore 3 of them and they had to look always new. In Raiders of the Lost Ark, I had started out with 10 jackets, all weathered exactly the same because we had them for so many different stuntmen. On the Blues Brothers, we had for John and Danny, we had 10 black suits, 10 pair of Ray-Bans, 10 black Doffs fedoras on every one. A key costumer has to be incredibly organized. And it's an army of wardrobe people making those people look good. People don't know what period costumes look like. And actors depend on you more for period costumes because you've done the research, you're the expert. When doing contemporary clothes is difficult. It's difficult because everyone knows what they look best in. Every actor knows they've been dressing themselves their entire life. So they've been compensating if they have short necks or wide hips or wide waists or small breasts, big breasts. They know what to do to compensate. Now you take that actor and then you try to build a character with them. It's difficult because you're naturally pulled to what you've been doing your whole life. They know they love Giorgio Armani and they just love to see those labels. And if the character, if it's not appropriate for them to wear Giorgio Armani, you may or you may not have a fight. A lot of actors just, they love to look terrible, sometimes more terrible than they're supposed to look. They love to have scars. You have to work with every actor. And I don't mean to be condescending, but people in contemporary movies, actors in contemporary movies, really do struggle against either wanting to look too good or wanting to look too terrible. The level of detail in costume design is what makes one person that much more extraordinary than another. Just knowing that detail exists. And Trading Places was a big costume movie. It had Eddie Murphy, who started out by being a homeless man. And we looked around, we found his character. Now, Eddie Murphy is a very, very dark African-American man. And I wanted something that would, for his first costume, I wanted something that would frame his face. So it seemed so simple to think of having a hooded sweatshirt, but I had the hooded sweatshirt so that Eddie Murphy, next to Ralph and Don, would have his face framed by a red sweatshirt. So it seems like we just went and got a red sweatshirt, but there was thinking behind it, and that kind of detail is what differentiates designers from one another. As a young costume designer, you want to just make it up and dress Barbie and then walk Barbie around in Barbie clothes. And you really don't care about Barbie's comfort too much. However, the sad reality is that the actor has to wear it. And the more comfortable and the more they love their costume, the better it will look for me, the costume designer. The better the character's going to work, the better the movie's going to be. If those shoes fit. If the shoes fit. And if they love their clothes. And it's hard to wrangle with actors because ultimately they do have to wear it. And you want to please them. I try to be extremely sensitive. And if they're pulling in the wrong direction, in terms of maybe period, you try to bring them back. And in any costume, you have to notice the word. It's a costume. It's not clothes. So costume has to relate to the character. Not the actor playing the character, but the character. So that's first and foremost, because the character relates to the story. And what is a movie but a story? So that's the first thing. And then there are a whole load of secondary things in terms of character. Design is like a domino. Is like playing dominoes. Not only does the character have to be true, but also they have to look good or not look good, or match or not match the people who are sitting next to them at the table, across from at the table, who they're speaking to, who's in the 2-shot, who's in the 3-shot, who's in the master. There can't be an extra in the back wearing a white dress. So you have to paint the frame. Are we doing everything cool? Are we using a lot of patterns in the backgrounds? These, you can imagine, if you want to put actors, if you build a diorama and you want to put those dolls or those people in that diorama, just what it has to look like. So you work with the character, and then it's the domino theory. What color couch are they sitting on? What color chairs are they sitting on? Is it a black and white striped chair? Are they wearing a black and white suit? What are the walls painted behind them? So you start to put together your frame. And then then you start painting the frame. So the character has to retain its integrity, and then you stand back and you look at the entire frame. Then beyond that, beyond just the pure design color element of it, comes, does the actor look good? And are they being flattered? And to what extent are you shaping this into what they did in the 30s, which is an old-time Hollywood look, which we did, of course, in Raiders of the Lost Ark, where the women always kind of look perfect coming out of the water, and their lips are perfect and their eyes are perfect. So you're doing the character, then you're finishing it off with a polish. Do you want that Hollywood polish, or are we making a documentary? Does it need to be realistic? And you can tell in a movie is successful design-wise if you either don't notice it, because that's perfect design, or if you're supposed to notice it, like a Ken Adam movie, that it knocks you off your feet because it's just so beautifully finished and detailed and designed. A costume designer is one of the midwives for the director's vision. And even before you articulate how you feel about the characters in the script, it's important to speak to the director, because time and time again what's happened to me has been that I read the script, I always see everybody dressed and walking around, and many times I have a meeting with the director and I'm wrong. People that I pictured were tall and blonde or short and dark, people who I think are going to be beautifully dressed or dressed in rags. So it's really, we're helping the director fulfill his vision of the piece. Now, if the director comes to me and says, I have no idea what they should be wearing, I don't ask him what they should be wearing. I just try to find out more about the people. Who are they? Where do they go shopping? How old are they? Where did they grow up? Where do they go to high school? I want to know about those people. And then only after I find out about the people do we finally get to the clothes. And only after I find out about the people the whole world of the movie starts taking place. The rooms of the movie start being built. And that's why when you read a script, so often the movie you see at the end can be completely different. Even the words can be the same, but the movie will be something other than what you've imagined, because it's all in the director's imagination.
How much do you love your job?
I love my job.
There's so much more to come here at Hollywood to Home. Not only will more exclusive interviews of film legends be released, but today's film, TV, and music video artists will share their trade secrets that can help transform your wardrobe, beauty routine, and personal spaces. If you want more insider knowledge and creative inspiration, hit that subscribe button, drop us a comment below, and we'll see you on the next one.